Welcome back to the Crypto Corner. Today will be part 2 of taking a look into the GitHub repository of the Bitcoin core team. But before we do that, why are they using GitHub? And what is GitHub? And so put yourself into the shoes of somebody that asks another person to write some code, and that person comes back with this type of code here. Nobody after that person will be able to change anything or add anything because there's no documentation and there's no the variables are unreadable. So this code is useless. So you paid for something that nobody else can maintain. And that's where GitHub is really fantastic, because GitHub gives you the structure to put everything nicely in place. And that's what the Bitcoin core did. They did a fantastic job in putting everything in an organized way into a system. And if you go into github.com/bitcoin, you'll find two repositories. So those are two areas that are important to them. The first one is the Bitcoin improvement proposals. And let's take a look at the first one here. And so this is what somebody drew down on how this whole Bitcoin improvement proposal will work. So this is the first BIPS 001. But you get an idea. So if you've got want to suggest something, that's the way to do that. Second is the Bitcoin code from the Bitcoin core team. And we have got here over 24,000 commits, and commits are changes to the code or to the documentation. So if we click on this line here, we'll see what was suggested and done. That's all yesterday. And so if I take this, for example, this change, that's from Marco Falke. He's one of the big Bitcoin core developers. He's based in Munich. And he added these two lines that are in green and deleted this line that is in red. So that's basically how this system works. You immediately see what was changed, and also the documentation is there. So he made additional changes to the code. So that's how the commits are working. Next is the contributors. And contributors are literally contributors to this project. And so from day one, when they started using GitHub, which is early 2010 until today, you see all the people that did some sort of contribution. So this, for example, Vladimir van der Laan. He's one of the main developers, as you can see. I mean, he's in position number 1 in everything that was changed. But I can also restrict this to specific times. So if I want to look into only 2020, then I do this. And then I see who was the contributor so far this year. And it's Marco Falke who contributed most. He did all these changes here. So he had 5,321 additions and 4,477 deletions in the code. So extremely active. And this is also quite handsome if you take a look into other blockchain projects that are working on GitHub. And for that, we go, for example, into forks. And forks are just basically copies of the repository at the time. So if I would fork Bitcoin code now, then I would appear in this list from this day onwards. And so if I take a look at the first one here, I don't know who they are, what they do, no clue. They did something, as you can see, they forked that code many years ago. And if I go into contributors, then I see again Vladimir van der Laan, place number 1. But I can guarantee you that that gentleman never worked on this project. It just, as you can see, it looks like these people made the copy mid of 2014, 2015. And everything that was before then appears in this list because it's part of the original code. Yeah, so you get all the history taken over with it. And if you want to check if they did anything, let's say I doubt there was anything since 2015. No. So they made a copy basically of the code and never did any improvements or any changes to to the idea that they at one stage had these 171,099 people. Anyway, but that's not the point. The point is that everything is really nicely documented, so that people that are coming late to this, or us here taking a look into that, are able to really analyze and see if everything is working and done in an orderly fashion, in a correct way. So I'm just moving backwards. So yeah, if you want to copy the code, you would do that through this here, but what's the point? Then you've got pull requests. Pull requests are those that you can make a change. Yeah, no problem. You copy the code, you suggest a change, or you make a change to the code, and then you upload it to the system, and you do a so-called pull request. And there are a few administrators to the system, and they will then decide whether they accept your changes or not. Yeah, so if you translated some text and they like that translation, then you would write a pull request, and they would then accept it, and that from that moment onwards, it would be only available on the main code that we saw here. Yeah, so that again is to ensure that only real things are accepted into the code. Yeah, if you've got 700 people adding something and deleting something, it has to be done through a process that is extremely well controlled. Especially as we're talking in this case of Bitcoin, several billion, over $100 billion at the moment worth of money that is being handled through the system. You don't want to have a mistake or an error in there. So that's it in regards to the Bitcoin core code. Next week we'll take a look into the famous not your coin, not your key, not your coin. Sorry. I will take a closer look into that, because a few people are still having questions in regards to that phrase. And yeah, until then, I wish you a fantastic week. Stay healthy, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.